Have you ever had that unsettling feeling that someone isn't being completely honest with you? That nagging intuition when everything they're saying sounds perfectly reasonable, but something deep in your gut is screaming that there's more to the story than meets the eye. You're sitting across from your colleague who's nodding enthusiastically at your proposal, showering you with compliments about how brilliant your idea is. Their smile seems genuine, their body language appears open, and they even offer to help you implement it. But something feels off. Your instincts are telling you there's more beneath the surface. 6 months later, you discover they've been working behind the scenes to undermine your project while simultaneously developing their own competing proposal. Sound familiar? If you've ever found yourself in a situation like this, wondering how you missed the warning signs, you're not alone. The truth is, most people are terrible at reading true intentions because they focus on the wrong signals and fall for carefully crafted facades. But what if I told you that over 500 years ago, a brilliant political strategist named Niccolò Machiavelli figured out exactly how to see through these masks and decode what people really want? Today, I'm going to share with you Machiavelli's most powerful psychological insights that will transform how you read people and protect yourself from manipulation forever. The first thing Machiavelli understood is that people rarely reveal their true intentions directly because doing so would make them vulnerable. Instead, they create elaborate performances designed to make you see exactly what they want you to see. Think about it when someone wants something from you. They don't usually come right out and say, "I want to use you for my own benefit." Instead, they dress it up as mutual benefit, friendship, or even concern for your well-being. Machiavelli called this the art of appearing virtuous while being strategic, and he knew that the most dangerous people are those who have mastered this art. The key is learning to look beyond the performance and identify the real motivations driving someone's behavior. One of the most revealing techniques Machiavelli used was what I call the contradiction test. Here's how it works. Pay attention to the gaps between what people say and what they actually do over time. Someone might claim they value teamwork and collaboration, but notice how they consistently take credit for group achievements while deflecting blame for failures. They might say they want to help you succeed, but somehow their help always seems to benefit them more than it benefits you. These contradictions aren't accidents, they're windows into someone's true character and intentions. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something that will completely change how you view social interactions. Machiavelli discovered that people often reveal their true intentions, not in what they say, but in what they don't say. The topics they avoid, the questions they deflect, the details they gloss over these silences are often more telling than any words they speak. For instance, if someone is pitching you a business opportunity and they spend a lot of time talking about potential profits, but carefully avoid discussing risks or their own investment in the project, that silence is screaming volumes about their true intentions. They want you to take the risk while they reap the benefits. Another powerful Machiavellian insight is understanding the timing of people's actions and requests. Pay attention to when people approach you with certain proposals or offers. Are they reaching out when you're vulnerable, stressed, or in need? Are they timing their requests when you're most likely to say yes without thinking it through? Predatory individuals have an almost supernatural ability to identify these moments of weakness and exploit them. If someone consistently approaches you with important requests or life-changing opportunities during your low moments, that's not coincidence, that's strategy. Let me tell you about the mirroring trap, one of Machiavelli's most sophisticated observations about human behavior. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to become exactly what you want them to be? They share your values, laugh at your jokes, mirror your opinions, and somehow always agree with your perspective. It feels amazing, doesn't it? Finally, someone who truly gets you. But Machiavelli warned that this kind of perfect alignment is often the most dangerous trap of all. When someone agrees with you too easily, too frequently, and too perfectly, they're likely not showing you their true self. They're showing you a carefully constructed version of themselves designed to win your trust and lower your defenses. The truly manipulative person doesn't argue with you or try to change your mind. They become exactly what you want them to be until they get what they want from you. Machiavelli also taught us to watch for what he called the loyalty test. This is when someone claims to be loyal to you, but you need to verify whether that loyalty is genuine or transactional. Here's a simple but powerful way to test this. Observe how they treat other people, especially those who can't benefit them in any way. How do they talk about former friends, ex-colleagues, or people who are currently struggling? If someone badmouths everyone from their past, claiming they were all terrible people who betrayed them, that's not a sign that they've had bad luck with relationships. That's a preview of how they'll eventually talk about you when you're no longer useful to them. Pay attention to their stories about conflict and notice whether they ever take responsibility for their role in relationship breakdowns. Someone who is always the victim in every story they tell is someone who lacks self-awareness at best, or is a masterful manipulator at worst. Now, let me share with you one of Machiavelli's most brilliant insights about reading people's true intentions. And this one will blow your mind because it's hiding in plain sight, but most people never notice it. Machiavelli observed that you can predict someone's future behavior toward you by watching how they gain and maintain power in other areas of their life. Someone who climbs the ladder at work by undermining colleagues and taking credit for others' work will eventually treat you the same way in your relationship with them. Someone who maintains friendships through gossip and drama stirring will eventually make you the subject of that gossip. Someone who gets what they want from family members through guilt trips and emotional manipulation will use those same tactics on you once you're close enough. The patterns are already there, you just need to learn how to recognize them. This is why Machiavelli emphasized the importance of observing people in multiple contexts and over extended periods of time. Anyone can maintain a facade for a few weeks or even months, but eventually their true patterns of behavior will emerge. Here's another game-changing insight from Machiavelli's playbook that most people completely miss. He taught that the most revealing moments in understanding someone's true intentions come during times of stress, pressure, or crisis. When everything is going well, people can afford to be generous, patient, and collaborative. But when resources are scarce, deadlines are tight, or competition is fierce, that's when their real character emerges. Watch how someone treats service workers when their order is wrong, how they behave in traffic when they're running late, or how they respond when they don't get their way in a low-stakes situation. These moments of minor stress are previews of how they'll behave when the stakes are higher and your relationship with them is on the line. Machiavelli knew that power and pressure don't corrupt people. They reveal who people really were all along. Let me share with you a story that perfectly illustrates this principle. I once knew someone who was incredibly charming and supportive during good times. They were always ready with compliments, always willing to help with small favors, and seemed genuinely interested in my success. But I started paying attention to how they handled minor frustrations. When a restaurant got their order wrong, they were condescending to the server. When they had to wait in line at the grocery store, they made passive-aggressive comments about other customers. When a friend couldn't meet for coffee due to a family emergency, they took it as a personal slight and made guilt-inducing remarks. These weren't major character flaws, they were small glimpses into their true nature. Sure enough, when I later had to set a boundary with this person that conflicted with something they wanted, their response was manipulative, guilt-inducing, and revealed that our entire friendship had been transactional from their perspective. Here's one of Machiavelli's most powerful and practical techniques for reading true intentions, and it's something you can start using immediately in your own life. He called it the reciprocity test, and it works like this. Pay attention to how people respond when you can't give them what they want, or when you need something from them instead of the other way around. A person with genuine intentions will be understanding when you have to say no, and they'll be willing to support you when you need help, even if there's no immediate benefit to them. But someone with hidden agendas will react very differently. When you can't fulfill their request, they might become cold, distant, or even hostile. When you need support from them, they'll suddenly be too busy, too stressed, or they'll find ways to make their help conditional on getting something in return. This reciprocity test is particularly powerful in romantic relationships and friendships. Someone who is only affectionate when they want something who only calls when they need a favor, or who becomes unavailable whenever you're going through a difficult time, is showing you their true intentions through their actions. They're not interested in a genuine connection with you. They're interested in what you can provide for them. Machiavelli understood that authentic relationships involve give and take, while manipulative relationships are characterized by constant taking disguised as caring. Another crucial insight from Machiavelli is understanding the difference between someone who disagrees with you and someone who is trying to manipulate you. A person with genuine intentions will disagree with you openly and directly when they have a different opinion. They'll explain their perspective, listen to yours, and you can have an honest conversation about your differences. But a manipulative person will rarely disagree with you directly, because that would risk conflict and potentially damage their ability to influence you. Instead, they'll use subtle techniques like asking leading questions designed to make you doubt yourself, sharing concerns that are really criticisms in disguise, or agreeing with you in the moment, but then acting in ways that contradict what you discussed. They'll undermine your confidence and decision-making ability while maintaining plausible deniability about their intentions. Here's a specific example of how this plays out in real life. Let's say you're excited about a new job opportunity and you share this with two different people. Person A says, "I'm concerned that this company has a reputation for high turnover. Have you researched their management style? I want to make sure you're making the best decision for your career." This is direct, honest feedback that comes from a place of genuine concern. Person B says, "Wow, that sounds amazing. You're so brave to take such a big risk. I could never be that adventurous with my career. I hope it works out for you." On the surface, person B seems more supportive, but notice what they're actually doing. They're planting seeds of doubt by framing your opportunity as risky and adventurous, implying that failure is a real possibility, while maintaining the facade of being supportive. This is manipulation disguised as encouragement. Machiavelli also taught us to pay attention to how people position themselves in your life and in your decision-making process. Someone with genuine intentions will encourage you to think for yourself, seek multiple perspectives, and make decisions that are best for you, even if those decisions don't benefit them. But someone with hidden agendas will try to become your primary advisor. They'll discourage you from getting outside opinions, and they'll push you toward decisions that happen to align with their interests while claiming it's for your own good. They might say things like, "I'm the only one who really understands your situation," or "Other people just don't get what you're going through like I do." This is isolation disguised as special understanding, and it's one of the most dangerous red flags you can encounter. Let me tell you about the consultation test, another brilliant Machiavellian technique. When someone gives you advice or makes suggestions about important decisions in your life, pay attention to whether they encourage you to think it through carefully or pressure you to act quickly. Someone with your best interests at heart will want you to make well-informed decisions, even if that means taking time to consider all your options. They'll suggest you sleep on it, talk to other trusted advisors, or research your choices thoroughly. But someone with ulterior motives will often create urgency around decisions that benefit them. They'll use phrases like, "This opportunity won't last long," or "You need to decide now before it's too late," or "Don't overthink it, just trust your gut." They know that rushed decisions are often poor decisions, and poor decisions create opportunities for them to benefit at your expense. The reason I'm sharing all of these insights with you is because understanding human nature and psychology isn't just about protecting yourself from bad actors. It's about building stronger, more authentic relationships with good people and making better decisions in all areas of your life. When you can accurately read people's intentions, you can respond appropriately to each person in your life. You can trust the trustworthy people more deeply, keep appropriate boundaries with the manipulative ones, and avoid wasting time and energy on relationships that aren't serving you. This is emotional intelligence at its highest level, and it's a skill that will serve you in every area of your life, from your career to your relationships to your personal growth. Now, here's something Machiavelli understood that most people today still don't grasp. The most dangerous manipulators are not the obviously bad people. They're the ones who seem almost too good to be true, They're charming, helpful, supportive, and they make you feel special and understood. But if you look closely, you'll notice that their kindness always seems to serve their purposes somehow. They're helpful when helping you creates an obligation. They're supportive when your success benefits them. They make you feel special because special people are more likely to trust them and less likely to question their motives. Machiavelli called these people the smiling assassins because they could destroy your life while making you feel grateful for the privilege. Here's how to spot them. Pay attention to the outcomes of your interactions with them over time. After spending time with genuinely supportive people, you feel more confident, more capable, and more optimistic about your future. After spending time with smiling assassins, you often feel subtly worse about yourself, more dependent on their approval, and more doubting of your own judgment. Even though the interactions seem positive on the surface, they have a talent for making you feel grateful for their attention while simultaneously undermining your self-confidence and independence. One of the most sophisticated techniques these individuals use is what I call strategic vulnerability. They'll share personal struggles or failures with you, creating a sense of intimacy and making you feel like you're seeing their authentic self. But notice the timing and content of these revelations. Are they sharing vulnerabilities that make them seem more relatable and trustworthy without actually revealing anything that could be used against them? Are they timing these moments of openness to coincide with requests for your trust or cooperation? Strategic vulnerability is designed to make you let your guard down and reciprocate with your own authentic vulnerabilities, which they can then use to manipulate you more effectively. Let me give you a concrete example. Someone might tell you about a time they trusted the wrong person in business and lost money, positioning themselves as someone who understands betrayal and values loyalty. This story makes them seem genuine and creates a bond between you based on shared experiences with untrustworthy people. But notice what they're actually accomplishing. They are priming you to see them as different from those untrustworthy people. They're encouraging you to share your own stories of betrayal, and they're positioning themselves as someone who would never betray your trust because they know how it feels. This is manipulation through false intimacy, and it's one of the most effective techniques used by skilled manipulators. Machiavelli also taught us about the importance of observing how people handle information, particularly sensitive or confidential information. Someone with good intentions will respect your privacy and keep your confidences, even in casual situations. But manipulative individuals will often test the waters by sharing small pieces of information about others to see how you react. If you seem interested in gossip, or if you reciprocate by sharing information about someone else, they'll file that away as useful intelligence about your character and boundaries. Pay attention to how people treat other people's secrets and privacy, because that's exactly how they'll treat yours when it suits their purposes. Here's another powerful insight. Watch how people respond to your success and your failures. Genuine people will celebrate your successes without trying to take credit or minimize your achievements, and they'll support you during failures without making you feel worse about yourself. But manipulative people will respond differently to both situations. When you succeed, they might offer backhanded compliments, find ways to insert themselves into your story, or subtly undermine your confidence by pointing out how you got lucky, or how it's about time. Something good happened to you. When you fail, they might offer support that comes with conditions, remind you of times they warned you about potential problems, or use your vulnerability as an opportunity to increase their influence in your life. The key to protecting yourself from manipulation while building authentic relationships is developing what Machiavelli called strategic empathy. This means being able to understand and connect with people emotionally while maintaining your objectivity and critical thinking skills. You can be kind, generous, and trusting while still paying attention to patterns of behavior and protecting your own interests. In fact, the most emotionally intelligent people are those who can be both warm and wise, both caring and discerning. Now let me share with you Machiavelli's ultimate test for reading people's true intentions. And this is something that ties together everything we've discussed. He believed that the most accurate way to predict someone's future behavior towards you is to look at the trajectory of their past relationships and understand why those relationships ended. Not just romantic relationships, but friendships, business partnerships, family relationships, and professional connections. Someone who has a pattern of relationships that start intensely and end dramatically, with them always being the victim of other people's betrayal or unreasonableness, is showing you a preview of your own future with them. But here's the nuanced part that most people miss. It's not about the number of failed relationships someone has had. It's about how they tell those stories and what role they acknowledge playing in those failures. Everyone has relationships that don't work out, and everyone has been hurt or disappointed by others. The difference is how they process and learn from those experiences. Someone with good intentions will be able to acknowledge their own contributions to relationship problems, show growth from past mistakes, and speak about former friends or partners with respect, even when those relationships didn't end well. In contrast, someone with manipulative tendencies will always be the victim in their stories, will show little to no personal growth from past relationship failures, and will speak about former connections with contempt, anger, or dismissal. They'll have explanations for why everyone else was wrong, unreasonable, or betrayed them, but they won't have insights about how they might have contributed to these patterns. This isn't just a red flag, it's a giant warning sign that you're next in line to become one of those stories they'll tell to future targets. The beauty of Machiavelli's approach to reading people is that it doesn't make you cynical or distrustful. It makes you more discerning and strategic in your relationships. When you can accurately assess people's character and intentions, you can invest your time and energy in relationships that genuinely serve your growth and happiness, while maintaining appropriate boundaries with those who might take advantage of your kindness. This creates space for authentic connections to flourish while protecting you from manipulation and exploitation. Remember, the goal isn't to become manipulative yourself or to assume the worst about everyone you meet. The goal is to develop the wisdom to see people clearly, respond to them appropriately, and build a life filled with genuine connections and mutual respect. Machiavelli understood that knowledge of human nature is power, but it's power that should be used ethically and in service of creating better relationships and better outcomes for everyone involved. As you start applying these insights in your own life, remember that reading people's true intentions is a skill that develops over time with practice and observation. Start small by paying attention to the patterns we've discussed in low-stakes relationships and situations. Notice how people handle minor frustrations, how they treat service workers, how they respond when you can't do something they've requested. Build your observational skills gradually and trust your intuition when something feels off, even if you can't immediately identify why. The most important thing to remember is that your peace of mind and emotional well-being are worth protecting. You don't owe anyone access to your life, your resources, or your trust just because they want it. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, genuine care, and authentic connection. When someone's behavior consistently doesn't align with these values, you have every right to create distance and protect yourself, regardless of how charming or persuasive they might be. These psychological insights from Machiavelli have stood the test of time because they're based on fundamental aspects of human nature that haven't changed in centuries. People still use the same manipulation tactics, create the same facades, and exploit the same vulnerabilities that they did 500 years ago. But now you have the tools to see through these strategies and make informed decisions about who deserves your trust and who does not. Use this knowledge wisely, share it with people you care about, and remember that the ability to read people's true intentions isn't just about protecting yourself, it's about creating a life filled with authentic, meaningful relationships that truly serve your growth and happiness.